let's put it all together. Let's take a look at how we would create a simple plan, taking a look at the different camera settings we would use and the different styles that we could use, and then how we would create our scene for that, right? So, if I start in an isometric view, switch to my modeling style. Always work with the modeling style, right? And turn off any of your shadow settings. Turn off any shadow settings. It's okay to see all of these guides and everything. Once you switch to your presentation style, they'll be gone. So, floor plan is really a horizontal section through the entire building, and it's usually about 36 to 42 inches above the finished floor plane. So, what I would recommend anytime you want to do a parallel or perspective plan view, use a section. Let's use section plane here. Activate the section plane, and then as you move into your drawing area, you can see how you can align to the face of walls or floors. I'm going to align it to the face of the floor right here and click. Now what you should see is a section plane through the entire floor plan, and if I select it, now it turns blue, and what I have here is my floor is at 4 feet above zero, right? To get the floor plan, I need to raise it up 42 more inches. If you take a look at your display right here for measurements, using the move tool now, pick a point off to the side and then move along the blue axis. I'm going to specify 42 inches there. Okay? And that's the actual graphic definition of floor plan. If I right click, I need to use align view. Now, this is where we could decide. Is this going to be parallel for DWG export, or do I want this to be illustrated and fancy styles for export as an image? Well, let's do the DWG first. Okay, I'm going to keep it in parallel. So make sure you're set to parallel there. If I go back to styles, I can switch over here to my DWG 2D elevation style. Now notice all the guides, the background changes, right? And there's my floor plan view. Now, obviously, in order to create a detailed floor plan view, you want to make sure all the layer information is on. We don't necessarily want to use shadows here if we're going to export to DWG for further editing, so this is unnecessary. Okay. So check your layers. We got the display style. The camera is in parallel. You would probably add annotations, callouts, dimensions, things like that. If we come over here to scenes, I'll use the add button and then I could give it a name. So I could call this the 2D DWG floor plan, and this is my scene. Now notice, okay, notice below right here. See how it says properties to save? It's always going to remember the camera location, what hidden geometry is on or off, what visible layers are on and off, what section planes are active, if I have style and fog, what shadow settings, and the axis location. Now here's a tip. If I want to be able to create multiple representations of the same view, okay, then maybe I don't want to remember style and fog. Alright? Because that way, if I save the scene like that, right, without style and fog, then I could always just use this for generic floor plan view, right? And all I need to do here is, if I want to use DWG, I can do that. Or if I wanted to use the 2D sketch, I can use that. Or if I wanted to do the full color with effects, I can do that as well. But regardless, each of these views can be saved separately as a different scene. All right. Now, the only other thing that I would say here in terms of shadow settings is just to make sure you use sun for shading. And in this case, make sure that time is directly overhead. All right. So you'll notice now that I have a tab there for the 2D version. So if I click on it, you'll see everything will readjust to the way that I saved it, right? But notice how the style and fog did not change. That's because those settings were not saved. That gives me the flexibility to change this at any time in any style I like. Right? So that's an option. All right, so we got plan. What about doing elevation or section? Let's talk about section first. Okay, so if we're taking a look at doing a section in the kitchen, for example, here's what I would do. Get into a slightly isometric view, and you'll notice right now the model is sliced. Well, take a look at your section settings here. Okay, notice how I could turn off the display cut. It's going to turn that off, and then I could turn on the section plane, so you could see the plane that produced the floor plan, right? I turned it on because now, using yet another section plane, now I can see that. And you'll notice how I can align to the wall surface, right? So, just as I did before, I can reselect it and then use the Move tool. And I can be very specific about where I place it, right? If I want to cut through the window, or if I want to cut just through the wall, right? If I want to cut through the overhead cabinets there, or just cut through the sink like this, I can define where the location. Okay?